Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We come to you from Immokalee today, and just want to encourage everyone, if you get the Naples Daily News, to take a look in there, and it has some more information about our bike ride that we'll be embarking upon next week. But I'm joined today by Wilson Perez, who is pretty new to public speaking, but he has long experience working in the fields, the tomato fields of Florida. He's 21 years old and just got back from a tour up the Northeast where we've been having presentations and pickets and the such, trying to call on the supermarkets, Trader Joe's, and Stop and Shop to likewise sign agreements with the Coalition of Immokalee Workers, now that we have the 4 largest fast food companies and the 3 largest food service companies squarely on board with the campaign for fair food. Without further ado, this is Wilson Perez.
Buenos días a todos, creo que yo ya dije mi nombre y soy miembro de la coalición ahora.
So good morning, everyone. I believe you heard my name, and I'm a member of the Coalition of Immokalee Workers.
Ok, voy a platicar un poco de la coalición o cómo trabajamos en la labor con nosotros como trabajadores.
So I want to talk a little bit about the Coalition of Immokalee Workers and what it's like to work in the fields here in Florida.
La coalición empezó con 4 trabajadores de Immokalee y fue como en la iglesia de Guadalupe de Immokalee.
The Coalition of Immokalee Workers began in the early 90s, comprised of 4 workers who would get together to meet in a borrowed room of the Our Lady of Guadalupe Catholic Church.
En donde ellos se juntaron, 4 trabajadores en un cuarto de la iglesia, se juntaron hablando para mejorar los mejores sueldos en el campo y como los abusos que existen.
And they met to speak about how they could work together to improve the poverty wages as well as the other abuses that farm workers routinely confront in the fields.
Porque nosotros los trabajadores que trabajamos en el campo, nosotros tenemos que como levantar muy temprano para ir a trabajar en la labor.
As a farm worker, we're obligated to wake up very early in the morning to go to work.
Y en eso salimos como a las 4 de la mañana, o levantamos y vamos a ir a buscar trabajo en un parqueadero que tenemos en Immokalee para ir a buscar trabajo.
Generally, we wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, where we will go to a central parking lot in Immokalee, going bus to bus, trying to find labor for the day.
Entonces ahí nos llevan a trabajar la labor y ya llegamos a las 6 o las 7 de la mañana, pero ya en esa hora no tenemos que entrar luego a trabajar.
And so once we're selected by one of the companies, we'll get on a bus, and we might go up to 2 hours on a bus ride to the farm, arriving at the farm at 6 or 7 o'clock, but we're still not paid yet for the day.
Ya llegamos en esa hora, ya luego entramos a trabajar hasta las 11 de la mañana, no a las 6, tenemos que esperar hasta que la planta o el tomate, la hoja de tomate se seque hasta las 11 de la mañana.
But very often we don't actually start getting paid for the day until 11 in the morning because they want for the tomato plants to be dry before we start to harvest the tomatoes. So all that time that we're spent on the farm between 6 and 11 a.m. is unpaid.
Entonces ya, a la hora que estamos en la labor no nos pagan hasta que vamos a empezar a trabajar a las 11.
We don't start making money until we begin actually harvesting the tomatoes and filling up buckets.
Y ya en eso ya entramos a trabajar, nos dan una cubeta que es esta.
When we get there, they give us a tomato bucket that is just like this one.
Es la cubeta que nos dan y nosotros tenemos que recoger el tomate de esta cubeta.
And this is what we use to collect the tomatoes.
Y ustedes tienen una idea cuánto nos pagan por la cubeta.
Does anyone have an idea of how much they pay us for every bucket that we fill?
$1.50.
$1.50? 34 centavos.
Not much.
No mucho.
Creo que 32 centavos es centavos.
50
Libros. Nos pagan 50 centavos a la cubeta.
We're paid 50 cents for every bucket that we harvest.
Y en la cubeta tenemos que llevarlo bien copeteado, bien como así.
And they've always mandated that it have a snow cone top to the bucket.
Y tenemos que como ir pescando así, levantarlo al hombro así.
So we're often hunched over all day long, picking and then once we fill it, then you hoist it onto your shoulder.
Tenemos que como caminar y dejar la cubeta a 100 pies de truck.
And then 100 feet away might be the truck that we have to run to with a bucket and then throw it up for them to dump it.
Y en eso nosotros los trabajadores recibimos maltratos como hoy está haciendo mucho calor. Si quieres sentar en la sombra, el patrón o el contratista te regaña, sino que te dice tienes que trabajar mucho.
And because it's quite hot outside, many times you feel like you want to be able to rest in the shade because you don't feel well. But the result is your crew leader yelling at you and telling you to get back in the field to work.
También como hace calor y luego a nosotros nos da como sed y si queremos ir a tomar agua, él te dice que no, sino que tienes que trabajar como bajo la calor, sin tomar agua o cuando llueve tienes que trabajar.
And also, likewise, you get thirsty working in the fields, but the crew leaders very often won't let you even stop to get a drink of water. They tell you that you're there to work. And likewise, when it rains, they still have you continue to pick tomatoes despite the rain.
Y también cuando, por ejemplo, o sea, cuando te enfermas o ya mañana, ahorita estás enfermo, hoy estás enfermo y mañana no vas a trabajar, si vas el otro día, ya el patrón ya no te recibe a trabajar y te dice, oh, no viniste ayer, estás despedido de una vez, ya no trabajas conmigo.
And if, say, you get sick one day, then if you try to go back to that crew leader the next day, they'll say, well, why am I going to hire you? You didn't show up yesterday.
Y entonces eso es lo que nosotros recibimos y también como trabajadores, como nosotros, tenemos en mente, o sea, estamos trabajando, tenemos en mente de recibir un pago y cuando llega ese día, el patrón ya no te da, entonces él te roba el pago.
And another common problem is that despite performing this work, the crew leader oftentimes will just not pay you, despite having already done that work, and just withholds the wages that you're rightly owed.
Y también donde ha habido como 9 casos de esclavitud y uno de ellos como habían 7 compañeros, o sea, trabajadores donde estaban encerrados en un troque, nomás se los sacaban a trabajar y cuando regresaban al trabajo, los volvían a cerrar con llave.
And the ugliest expression of this abuse is literal modern-day slavery. In the last 13 years, there have actually been 9 federally prosecuted slavery operations within Florida, and that's not hyperbole, this is literal forced labor. He said one of the most recent ones is in Immokalee, where 7 workers were obligated to pick tomatoes, and then by night they would be locked in the back of a cargo truck with a lock, and then by day taken again to work in the tomato fields.
Entonces, donde ellos también cuando llegaban a trabajar en esa trailer y cuando querían bañarse, tenían que bañarse, pero comprar una cubeta de agua a $5 a sus patrones.
And in this situation, which was prosecuted federally on slavery charges, it was uncovered that these workers, if they wanted to shower, were given a garden hose and a tomato bucket, and $5 was deducted from the amount that they were allegedly to be paid for the work that they had performed.
Y también cuando ellos querían comer, por ejemplo, también a ellos les obligaban a comprar comida a los patrones de lo más caro que a la cubeta.
And likewise, when they were given food by the people that held them against their will, they would have a significant amount of money deducted from the amount that they had allegedly made, keeping them in perpetual debt.
Entonces también, luego un día de esto, llegó un día donde ellos como querían escaparse, pero los patrones los volvían como a agarrar, los encerraban otra vez, pero esa vez que pasó, los agarraban las manos con cadena, los pies también, los encerraban con llave.
And one time the workers did try to leave the camp, and as a result those crew leaders caught up with them, brought them back, and literally chained them up with their wrists and their feet so they couldn't escape. And again, this is in Immokalee just 3 years ago.
Wow. Entonces sí, ya otro día llegó, entonces donde ellos escaparon en una esquina del troque, fueron a dar parte a la policía y a la coalición también.
And finally, during Thanksgiving week of 2007, these workers were able to punch a hole through the roof of the truck within which they had been locked, and divided it, made their way out and divided it into 2 groups. One went to the Collier County Sheriff's Department, and then the other group came to our office of the Coalition of Immokalee Workers.
Entonces es por eso que la coalición ha venido luchando por los mejores sueldos, los mejores sueldos. Entonces a los trabajadores también tenemos que luchar. Hemos apoyado también como estando con la coalición haciendo esta campaña por comida justa. Hemos venido como luchando por eso para cambiar las condiciones del campo, terminar también con la esclavitud moderna que existe todavía ahora.
And so it's for that reason, these abuses of decades-long poverty, as well as the severity of actual forced labor, that the coalition has launched what they call the Campaign for Fair Food, where they try to harness the purchasing power of major retailers to ensure human rights and fair wages for the people that harvest the tomatoes.
Hemos enfocado a los supermercados que compran el tomate a los rancheros.
And now we are focused on the supermarkets that buy these tomatoes from the growers.
donde los rancheros o el tomate que pescamos, esos supermercados, por ejemplo, Publix. Ese supermercado compra el tomate al ranchero lo más barato que él pueda y vende el tomate lo más caro en la tienda.
And for example, if you look at Publix, because Publix purchases in such mass quantities, they're able to dictate the lowest possible price to growers for the tomatoes that they're going to buy from them.
Entonces, como eso, esos supermercados compran lo más barato a los rancheros y nosotros tenemos que como pagar en eso, o nosotros tenemos nomás 50 centavos en la cuenta.
And as a result, since the growers are being squeezed by these major consolidated purchases of companies like Publix and Walmart and others, that results in us not having had a wage increase in many decades because the growers then, in turn, have to squeeze us.
Entonces hemos como venido o haciendo este programa para pedir a esos supermercados, como por ejemplo, entonces como empezamos como McDonald's, Taco Bell.
And so when we first started our campaign, we launched a boycott of Taco Bell, which was successful, and Taco Bell came on board, and it was followed by McDonald's.
Hicimos ese programa y entonces tuvimos que como enfocar en ellos pidiendo un centavo más por libra de tomate que nosotros buscamos.
And what Taco Bell and McDonald's agreed to do was to pay 1 more penny a pound for the tomatoes that they bought to increase our wages.
Que esos centavos no es que nosotros nomás queremos un centavo, si queremos también o demandamos ese centavo y demandamos 3 demandas también.
But it wasn't just that penny per pound, and if I may, that if you think through it, that means it's actual 32 cents on top of the 50 cents. So that's a 64% wage increase for just a penny a pound. So even though a penny pound sounds tiny, it actually has a dramatic result for farm workers. But what he said was, but it wasn't just the penny per pound. We had 2 other demands as well.
Donde también, si pasa el centavo, nosotros demandamos que un trabajador tenga derecho de quejarse sin miedo o tenga ese derecho de ir en la sombra cuando tiene calor o de tomar agua o de agarrar un día de descanso cuando se siente muy cansado.
One was a kind of a code of conduct to protect basic labor rights, which included the right to rest in the shade when it's too hot out, the right to have access to water, likewise to have a complaint resolution system where one can file abuses without fear of retaliation and losing your job for speaking out against sexual assault or sexual harassment or other types of abuses.
Entonces McDonald's hicimos como protestas o le mandamos o llevamos nuestro mensaje como nosotros trabajadores, qué es lo que nosotros recibimos en la labor o qué hay detrás del tomate, porque nosotros nomás vamos a ir a hacer una protesta o eso, entonces ellos no saben qué es lo que pasa, sino nosotros llevamos nuestro mensaje como trabajadores en el campo.
And that with our campaigns with Taco Bell and McDonald's, the first 2 major ones, we started to organize protests and educational presentations and such, so that people could learn more about the history behind the tomatoes that they ate. And when these companies spend millions of dollars on advertising to shape the way we think about their food, often that reality gets lost. And so we organize these protests to bring that reality to the forefront.
Entonces ya hicimos durante 4 años McDonald's o Taco Bell. Durante 4 años él vino a la mesa con nosotros, durante 4 años. Él vino a la mesa con la coalición y firmó un acuerdo y está trabajando ahora con nosotros.
And after a 4-year boycott, Taco Bell finally came on board and agreed to all 3 of those things. He left off one, which is, the penny per pound, the support of this code of conduct, but also for the coalition of Immokalee workers to actually have a seat at the table along with the growers and with the company.
Si no solo ellos, ahora son 9 supermercados, o sea, son 4 supermercados y 9 como restaurantes de la comida rápida, como hay unos en escuela o hospitales o en hoteles, y es como Subway y otros. Y ahora son 9 como corporaciones que ya están firmando, o sea, ya trabajan con la coalición ahora.
And to date, we've continued on with the campaign, and since the days of Taco Bell have now reached agreements for the penny per pound and support for the code of conduct with the 4 largest fast food corporations on the planet, including McDonald's, Subway, Burger King, and Yum Brands, which owns Taco Bell, Long John Silver's, KFC, Pizza Hut, and likewise the 3 largest food service providers. And these are the companies that provide food service to hospitals and convention centers and schools. And that's Aramark, Sodexo, and Compass Group. And all of them have now reached these agreements with the coalition.
Apenas el octubre y noviembre pasado, del año pasado, 2 compañías grandes de de Immokalee, que es como 6L y Pacific, ellos también ya están como, ya estamos recibiendo el centavo ahora. Voy a dar un poco de contexto para eso.
And I'm just going to give a little bit of context to what he just said now. But at that point, when Taco Bell and McDonald's had come on board and were pledging their extra penny per pound, sorry, tired of hunching over. The growers, the Florida Tomato Growers Exchange, that's the body that represents 90% of the tomato growers in the state, refused to pass on that money to the farm workers. And they said, we're not going to do it. And basically the reason is because they didn't want, for the first time in 225 years, for farm workers to actually have built some power for themselves, to have a say in the workplace. And so they refused to distribute those monies. As a result, the United States Senate, under the leadership of Ted Kennedy, Dick Durbin, Bernie Sanders as well, and then one more, held a hearing and compelled the head of the Florida Tomato Growers Exchange to come and justify before the U.S. Senate why it was that they were refusing to distribute these monies. And there's a book that recently came out called Tomato Land, which was on one of the best-seller lists of the New York Times last month. And in it, one of the chapters, Reggie Brown, who's the head of the Florida Tomato Growers Exchange, recounted that it was the worst day of his life, having to testify before the U.S. Senate as to why they were at this stalemate and refused to implement these agreements. But as the coalition continued to get more and more of these retailers on board, like Subway, Burger King, Whole Foods, and the rest of them, it continued to build pressure on the growers to finally break that resistance. And so the growers learned that the first grower that would finally break that stalemate, be willing to implement this code of conduct, and be willing to distribute this penny per pound to the workforce, would be gaining the business of the 4 largest fast food companies. They'd be gaining the business of some of the largest food service providers. And so really it was using the market to compel the growers to change their ways. And so that gives way to what Esther Wilson was saying about then 6Ls and Pacific, 2 of the largest growers in the state, along with East Coast growers, announced last fall that they would in fact be breaking with the resistance of the Growers Exchange to implement these agreements, which shortly followed with all of the 90% of the tomato farms in the state likewise agreeing to distribute this money and to implement this code of conduct. And I'll just say too, and I mentioned this at the Democratic meeting this past week, but this summer the New York Times called that agreement, quote, possibly the most successful labor action in 20 years in the United States. So.
Entonces, eso es lo que hemos venido luchando, y hasta ahora, el mayo pasado, este mayo que pasó, nosotros vimos el centavo, o yo recibí el centavo que nosotros demandamos a estos supermercados.
And so this May, when I was picking tomatoes, I actually received this bonus, the penny per pound, in my paycheck that increased the wages.
Entonces yo me estuve bien, como contento de recibir los centavos, y también otros trabajadores también que ellos estaban ahí, oh, ya llegó los centavos, y otros también que no querían, como nosotros hacemos una invitación para ellos cuando hacemos unas protestas y ellos dicen, no, la coalición no sirve.
And okay, does he have this?
Yeah.
And so I was very happy to then see this line item that was called the Fair Food Premium, which increased wages because of the penny per pound being distributed to us, the workers. And there had been other farm workers in Immokalee who had said, the coalition's not worth anything. They don't do anything, up until these pennies finally started making it their paychecks, and they saw that in fact these protests did have a reason, and in fact were being met with success.
Y por entonces ya nosotros recibimos eso, y también ya, si no solo centavos estamos recibiendo, sino que ya estamos recibiendo también, y ya estamos viendo el cambio que demandamos también, los cambios a los otros trabajadores.
But we've also seen many other changes that are occurring in the fields that impact us as farm workers.
Donde también la cubeta no tenemos que llevarlo ahorita de bien copeteado, sino que tenemos que llevarlo al ras, como al ras.
And for example, I mentioned that there used to always have to be a snow cone top demanded in the fields. Well, that has now been eliminated at 90% of the farms in the state, where now you just have to fill it up to the brim as opposed to the snow cone top.
Entonces, esa es la lucha que hemos venido haciendo, pero no se está como viendo los centavos de casi todo del trabajo o todos los ranchos en Immokalee, sino que apenas en esta temporada vamos a ver más los centavos, y muchos trabajadores van a recibir esos bonos o los centavos de tomate.
And so when this agreement was signed with 90% of the farms, what they did is last season they just implemented it at 6Ls and Pacific, 2 of the largest farms. so they could develop the necessary protocols and procedures for implementing it industry-wide. So this coming season, that penny and this new code of conduct will be implemented across the industry. And I'll just add, that's 33,000 farm workers that will benefit.
Y también ahora nosotros, los trabajadores, tenemos que salir hasta las 6 o 7 de la mañana, salir de la casa, a ir a trabajar, como llegar en la labor como a las 9 y ya llegando tenemos que empezar a trabajar ya luego.
And what we've seen too is that when it was implemented this past season with 6Ls and Pacific, that no longer did we have to get up at 4 a.m. either. We got up more like 6 or 7 a.m. And the reason is because there's now a clock-in system this season will be at 90% of the farms. So that when you get to work, you actually clock in. So every hour that you're actually on the farm, you're paid for. You don't just sit there. And for that reason, the growers aren't having workers get up incredibly early just to sit there and wait on the farm. So that also has the effect of enabling many families to actually spend the mornings with their children, which up until now, farm workers routinely would take their children while they're still asleep to the babysitter. When they get back off the buses at night, many times their kids are already asleep. And so this has actually made a dramatic difference in the lives of families in Immokalee as well. Yeah, I think we'll just hold off questions to the end. We're almost done with this.
Y entonces, ahora nosotros tenemos que salir a trabajar en esa hora, pero antes, donde había como un grupo, antes salíamos a las 4, donde también había como una familia. Me acuerdo muy bien que la familia tiene una niña, una pareja tiene una niña y dice, oh, mi papá no llegó a dormir en la noche porque nosotros salimos a las 4 de la mañana a trabajar y llegando hasta las 8 de la noche.
Because up until now, it had been you get up at 4 in the morning, you get back at 8 o'clock at night, and someone that I know, a couple that had a daughter, thought that the dad never really came home because she never really saw him.
Entonces nosotros tenemos que salir ahora hasta las 9. Tenemos una tarjeta de donde nosotros tenemos que punchar entrando y tenemos que puncharlo al salir para saber nosotros cuántas horas vamos a trabajar.
But now we have a card, so we punch in when we get there and we punch in when we leave, and that also ensures that we're paid at least minimum wage and not just based on how many buckets we harvest.
Entonces nosotros los trabajadores ya estamos como recibiendo el cambio y donde nosotros tenemos ahora derecho de quejar sin miedo, o tenemos que ir como quejar a la compañía, o si no estamos bien hablando con la compañía o con los contratistas, tenemos que ir directamente a la oficina de la coalición.
And we now have a complaint resolution system in place, which now farm workers are entitled to either file their complaints directly with the grower or with the coalition of Immokalee workers and to resolve those complaints.
Entonces, si no solo esos supermercados o 9 corporaciones que están trabajando con nosotros vamos a seguir luchando, porque no es suficiente nosotros lo que estamos recibiendo, sino que tenemos que luchar. Ahora estamos como mercado, venimos luchando, venimos pidiendo lo mismo a este supermercado que es Publix.
And so now we're just calling on for Publix to likewise sign on to these agreements to pay their penny and likewise to condition their purchases on the growers' compliance with the Code of Conduct.
Pero Publix desde hace 2 años ha venido negando o ha venido diciendo, oh, nosotros no queremos pasar el centavo o no vamos a firmar el acuerdo con la comisión.
But for more than 2 years, Publix has rejected our invitation to even meet to discuss this possibility and has ignored all the letters that we've written to them without even writing us back.
Hemos llevado nuestro mensaje a Publix o también nuestro mensaje que él haga lo mismo, que pase un centavo, también que nos apoye en esto. Entonces él ha venido durante 2 años, ha venido como negando el centavo para nosotros los trabajadores.
But again, for more than 2 years, Publix has refused to pay the penny and has refused to even meet with us.
Entonces hemos luchado y ahora ayer fuimos a una acción con ellos, no sé si se sentaron, pero fuimos allá, hicimos como 40 millas de bicicleta de Immokalee a Naples. Fuimos a ellos y dijeron, entramos y llevamos nuestro mensaje y ellos dijeron, ¿qué están haciendo aquí? Váyanse o los llama la policía.
Yeah. And so, as some of you may have seen in today's Naples Daily News or on the news last night, has anybody seen it on the news last night? Some people? Okay. Yeah, so in preparation for our upcoming bike ride, we rode our bikes from Immokalee to Naples yesterday, about 45 miles, and went to the Publix at Neapolitan Way. And there we were actually joined by about a half dozen clergy and some other supporters, including Mickey. and I'm sure anybody else here was there as well. But yeah, we went in and we actually said a prayer in the produce aisle, got on our knees, and their clergy led us in a prayer. And then after that, the manager told us that we needed to get off the property or that he had called the police. And I remember, I think James McDonald saying, yeah, we'll leave in a few minutes. They're like, no, you leave now or we'll call the police. Okay, we'll leave in a few minutes. So they're pretty irate. But the one thing I'll add is that we ended up buying together. We all pitched in and bought 32 pounds of tomatoes. That's how many tomatoes it takes to fill up the bucket. How much do you think that 32 pounds of tomatoes cost?
$50.
It was $79.63. And how much does a worker get? The person that's actually under the hot sun, picking, de-stemming, filling up the bucket, running to the truck, throwing up. How much do they get of that $79.63? They get 50 cents. So that's just over half of 1% of the final retail price goes to the person who's actually done the labor. And the thing is, the growers aren't getting off making tons of money either. It's not like, the farmers are making a killing. In fact, we're having less and less farmers because it's so difficult to do farming these days. And the reason is major retailers like Publix and Walmart. And Publix has this little snide comment they've been saying recently in the press, which is kind of witty, but unfortunately just pretty unfortunate, where they've been saying, well, if the coalition has problems, they should go to the local officials, not their local supermarket. But the reason is it is the supermarket is because of their, it's not a small local supermarket. They had $25 billion of revenue last year. Yeah, exactly. They don't have any competition, they say. It's the 8th largest private company in the United States. It's the largest company in Florida. To pretend like they have nothing to do with the tomatoes that they sell is ridiculous, especially if you ask the growers who are being squeezed. Growers actually grow their tomatoes based on the demands of these buyers. They say, we want tomatoes of this size, they're going to be ready at this time, at this season, we want this quantity, and the growers are going to do it. And in the same way that Publix leverages that power through their massive purchasing, they can also, in the same way that they care about animal rights and can mandate that chickens, not be, confined to certain size cages. Well, likewise, they can ensure that, this code of conduct is complied with. And if I might just add too, when that slavery case took place in Immokalee, the one that was mentioned, that was, federally prosecuted in Fort Myers successfully. The crew leaders actually pled guilty on slavery charges. It was uncovered in federal court the names of the 2 farms where these workers were taken to harvest. And those 2 farms are suppliers to Whole Foods and the Publix. Now the difference is Whole Foods has signed an agreement with the coalition. And so what did Whole Foods do as soon as they heard about this? Do you think they kept buying from those 2 farms?
No.
No, Whole Foods immediately cut their contracts and said, we don't tolerate slave labor in our supply chain. We have this agreement with the coalition where unless they're complying with this code of conduct, we're not going to buy from you. And so they sent a clear message by moving their purchases to other farms. What about Publix?
No.
Yeah, for 15 full months, Publix continued to give their money to these 2 farms where a federally prosecuted slavery case had occurred, as if it were no cause for concern whatsoever. And that continues to be Publix's position, is that they can't be told who they're going to buy from, and that it's not important, and that if there is actually a problem, that the CIW should go to federal officials, not to their local supermarket. But the thing is, federal officials have been pretty clear about the work of the coalition in terms of modern day slavery. And I would invite everyone to check out this table. Actually, this past year, the State Department, actually Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton, gave her highest award for work against modern day slavery to the Coalition of Immokalee Workers. Because of those 9 slavery cases which have been prosecuted, the coalition has discovered and helped to prosecute 6 of them. They've involved over 1,000 workers who have been held against their will, including the most recent one there in Immokalee. So some people may have heard of this modern day slavery museum that the coalition has created and had toured around Naples for a good while last year. Well, the State Department had us take it all the way up to Washington, D.C. to install on the National Mall and in front of the State Department. And all of her staff came and toured it, as did the ambassador at large for human trafficking for the U.S. government, who took his time going through it. And likewise, the U.S. Secretary of Labor, Hilda Solis, in her first speech as the Secretary of Labor, she talked about Immokalee and talked about the struggle for better wages. And in fact, she flew down as Secretary of Labor to tour the Slavery Museum as well, and to meet with the coalition. And one thing that I thought was pretty cool was actually the whole time that her staff was in the CIW's community center, so this full hour where they were talking about the campaign and talking about how the Department of Labor can be involved, I never heard any English. Like the entire conversation was in Spanish. between Secretary Solis and all of her staff members in the CIW, which I don't know, I think it goes a long way to speak about the commitment of this administration and kind of who are in those positions of power, which I think is really neat. And also, I forgot, President Jimmy Carter, likewise, when we took the museum to Atlanta, he came as well in full motorcade, and I had the pleasure of being able to walk into the exhibit as well to talk about those things. So there has been a lot of support federally from Democrats in the state. Unfortunately, not so many state officials have been as supportive of the coalition's efforts, but hopefully that will change over time. But yeah, ¿quieres hablar de?
Entonces, porque Publix ha venido durante 2 años, ha venido negándonos, por eso nosotros ahorita tenemos una acción o un evento que vamos a empezar del 27 a 6 de septiembre. Vamos a llevar nuestro mensaje a este supermercado, a Edna, algo así. Entonces, tenemos que llevar nuestro mensaje, pero a bicicleta, de Immokalee hasta Lakeland.
And because Publix has been ignoring our letters for 2 years, for that reason, we're going to ride our bicycles to Lakeland from Immokalee, and we're going to leave on the 27th, so Saturday, a week from today, and we're going to go directly to Publix's headquarters to invite Ed Crenshaw to come to Immokalee to learn more about these agreements.
Entonces tenemos que ir y llevar nuestro mensaje a él y que él venga a la oficina de Immokalee a sentarnos, que se sienta con nosotros a hablar. Que tenemos que hablar con él, o sea, darle a saber que nosotros recibimos maltratos en la labor, que queremos un centavo más por libra de tomate, y es lo que queremos. Vamos a ir de Lakeland, bueno, de Immokalee a Lakeland con bike y llevar nuestro mensaje.
And so for that reason we're riding our bikes to Lakeland, is so that we can invite him and tell him we'd like for him to come to the community center. We'd like to be able to talk to him about how this agreement is working with so many other companies, and how easy it would be for Publix to pay 1 more penny a pound and to support only growers that comply with this new code of conduct. And that's what we'll be doing. And September 6th is the day after Labor Day, I would just add. So he's had this long holiday weekend to think about the contribution of laborers, and so we'll be arriving the first work day back after Labor Day weekend.
Entonces vamos a ir con las esperanzas de que él va a venir a la oficina de la coalición a sentarse y platicar con nosotros los trabajadores.
And so that's our hope, that he will receive us and that he will accept our invitation and come to speak with us in Immokalee.
Eso es todo y gracias por su atención.
Okay. So thank you. That's everything. And anybody has any questions?